Hi guys, it's my favorite day of the week again, Steam Day. This week we're going to talk about a body part. It's one you can't see from the outside, but it's one of the most important. Think back to last week. We drew pictures, and we drew some of our insides on the pictures. We drew the brain, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the liver, and the intestines. Well, we call all those organs. Organs are big, important body parts. Most of them, but not all of them, are on the inside. Well, let's think about what we're talking about today. I'm going to give you a couple hints and see if you can guess which one it is. Where all the air goes when we breathe in, and where it comes from when we breathe out. Now, it goes in our nose, but it doesn't stop there. Where does it go next? Well, it goes through a special tube down our throat, and that's called the trachea. It's right here. You can feel it in front. And then it comes down to about here, and it splits in two, and it goes to two big organs right here. They are the lungs. Well, let's see what it feels like when we don't use our lungs, because our lungs are working all the time, even when we're not thinking about it. But I'm going to hold my breath. And why don't you pause me and get a timer and see how long you can hold your breath? I'm really curious to know. Ready? Well, I held my breath for just about a minute, and let me tell you, by the time that minute was up, I really needed a breath of air. Do you know what the longest a human has ever held their breath for is? 24 minutes and 3 seconds. Can you imagine that? It's very incredible. It's something you have to train for a long time, but it's possible. Our ribs are bones that protect our organs inside our bodies, especially our lungs. Our lungs are fragile, and they can't move on their own. They need help from a special muscle inside of our bodies called our diaphragm. And when our diaphragm moves, our lungs move too. You'll see how that works in just a few minutes. When we breathe in, the reason that we're taking in air is to get oxygen in. Oxygen is a gas that's in the air. You can't see it and you can't smell it, but it's all around us. And that's very important for almost everything that our body does. We can't live without it. When we breathe out, we're getting rid of carbon dioxide. That's another invisible gas that's all around us. Our bodies make it, but we can't have too much of it inside us. So when we breathe out, it gets rid of the carbon dioxide and makes room for more oxygen. Have you ever wondered how big your lungs are? We can't tell exactly. Doctors have special machines that can see inside of us, but I just have this. So what I'm going to do is take one big breath and see how much air fits in my lungs. That'll at least give me some idea. Are you ready? That's actually quite a lot. Can you imagine that on the inside of you? Now, this is one balloon, and I have two lungs, so maybe each one is about half this size. Do you have a balloon? Can you try to see how much air you can fit into one breath? Let's see how big kids' lungs are. Take your giant breath, fill your lungs all the way to the top with air. Now, see if you can blow it all into the balloon. So Willie's lungs are big enough to hold this much air, and that's between two lungs. And Amos's lungs are big enough to hold this much air. Now Willie and Amos and I are going to do a little project. We're going to build lungs in a bottle so we can see how the diaphragm helps the lungs to work. Ready? We'll need some tools and some materials. Our tools are things that we can use over and over again many times. And our materials are the parts of the project that we'll use up, and then they'll be gone. You can probably tell what the lungs are here. It's the two pink balloons. When we look at the other parts, this straw, that's supposed to be the trachea, the special tube in your throat. And the red part is the diaphragm. Now remember, the lungs don't have any power to move on their own, but the diaphragm can help them work. When the diaphragm moves, the lungs breathe in and out. If these were our lungs and the bottle was our chest, our arms would stick out the sides and our head would be on the top. Well, now that we know what lungs are, we've got to talk a little bit about how to take excellent care of them. One thing you can do is try not to breathe dirty air. Any kind of dusty things or smoky things, these aren't great for your lungs. What you need to do is breathe clean air, maybe playing outdoors, especially in the woods or around a lot of plants. The other thing is exercise. When you really exercise, I mean run a long ways or play a good hard game of tag or basketball or soccer, can you feel your lungs just working hard? Sometimes you even have to stop and catch your breath. That's great for you. That's making your lungs work extra hard and all the muscles around your lungs work extra hard. And the more you do it, the stronger your lungs will get. So my challenge to you this week is, even though it's winter, try to find a time to do some good running outdoors. You can go for a jog, or you can play tag with a friend, or anything else that involves running. But that's the best thing for your lungs. And I hope that you all take great care of them. And I would really love to hear about some of the things that you did. Have a good week.